Previously on CT Repairs. The AV output just rolls like this. So both of those seem quite off for a video output capacitor, and here's a new, beautiful Nichicon top shelf 47 microfarad 16 volt capacitor. So I'm bending the leads to hold it in place, and we're tacking it in with solder. The disc spins, locks up, won't eject. I'll have to give the bad news to the customer, see if they would want to try and replace this DVD drive. Good news is, this means there could be a part 2. And we are so back, ladies and gentlemen. I received approval from the customer to replace this DVD drive. Right now I'm just setting things up. I bought this exhaust fan at a rummage sale. It's meant for the kitchen, but it works pretty well for solder. I pulled the part number off the old laser and found one on eBay. I purchased it for about $37 total. I'm still going to follow best practices here and bridge the laser in case it's not actually the laser that's broken. Then I'd want to drop this part back in and return the one I bought online. With it bridged, I pull back this clamp and take the cable out. Then I'll remove the screws and pull the disk drive out of the unit. We've got some motor cables plugged in to the back here, pulling those out. I put the clamp back on here. I figured I'll be handling this so much, I don't want to accidentally touch the old or new laser. And I start to take out the screws, but then I figure, well, I probably shouldn't be doing this over the actual circuit board, so I unplug this cable and slide the whole unit out of the way. Now I can work unencumbered. I don't have to worry about damaging the board here. I take out the screws, then I try to remove the carriage from the drive, and I realize there's another screw here covering the hinge. So once I remove that, everything just slides out fine. So here's the new laser. I thought it was funny that this says handle with care anti-static, because when you open the box, it's in a normal plastic bag. There's no anti-static bag in here. But the new laser is bridged, so there is some static protection there. I'm comparing the two together, making sure that it is a replacement. I don't want to get this wrong. I'll set aside the new one and address the old one. It's still in a chassis and I've got to remove it. There's little rubber isolators on it, and this just slides out with some wiggling. And then I have to remove the rubber isolators. I put them down in the same orientation that they went in so that I'm not flipping them. I wasn't sure how important that was, but one side was curved and one side was flat. And now just unplugging this final cable. Next, putting the isolators into the new unit. And then the whole thing slides back onto the chassis. It is mistake proof. You can't put this in backwards, so that's nice. If you're enjoying my videos, I'd really appreciate a like and subscribe. Especially if you want to see more videos like this. I've got more stuff coming up for you. Next, putting the screws back in. These aren't adjustable, so you just thread these all the way down until you feel a little resistance and then stop. And we're going to slide this back into the DVD drive. There are some pegs you need to line up and then snap it back into place. And we'll add the final screw on the hinge to secure it, make sure it doesn't fall out. And then the rest is pretty much the reverse of before, putting everything back into place and dropping it back into the unit. Okay, everything is reassembled and I go and plug everything in, and I hit that power button and nothing happened. So I hit it again and nothing happened. So I'm panicking a little bit at this point. I don't know why it's not turning on. I only took the drive out and put in a new one. When I hit the eject button, that ended up kicking the unit on, so I wasn't entirely sure. Maybe that was a fluke. We'll just go from there, eject the drive, put in a disc, see if it plays. So yes, we do have something on screen, but it did play some discs before, so I'm going to swap in a different movie and try that. We'll try The Fifth Element. It's a good one. And here we go. It's starting up, but it also started up last time with The Fifth Element. Now I start flipping through the different scenes, and it's syncing perfectly. It's going straight to the end of the disc, which it did not do that before. And off camera, I'm now finding out the remote is not working. I'm skipping through the scenes with the buttons on the unit. And what caused the remote and the power button not to work? Well, in the business, we call this foreshadowing. Yeah, so it turns out I flipped the board over so many times that I fatigued the wires on this cable, and some of them broke off the board. At first, I tried fixing it in place, just cutting away some of the insulation, and then I was going to solder the wires back in. That proved too difficult, so starting fresh, cutting this off, and then I'm going to trim away the insulation with the razor blade. This probably took a good 5 or 10 minutes. These wires are fragile and I don't want to break it any more than I already have. First step for the board prep, applying some solder flux here. This will help the solder flow and stick to the copper pads a lot easier. Then I'll touch each pad with the iron and the solder and put a nice little bead on each copper pad. Cleaning up all of the solder flux residue with some isopropyl alcohol. Now I'm aligning the cable, making sure that it's going to sit where I want it. I tack it in with some hot glue. Originally, this was held in with hot glue, so if it was good enough for production, should be good enough for now. Final step before I solder the wires in, I'm taking this flat blade screwdriver and making sure that every wire is aligned exactly where I want it to be. I'll tack the two end wires on first, so it definitely won't move as I transition onto the wires in the middle. I was having a little difficulty with the wires staying down as I soldered them, so I found it was easier to press them down with my right hand and some tweezers while I waited for the solder to re-solidify. Before firing it back up, I do a continuity check. When the digital multimeter finds continuity, it gives me a beep. Therefore, I know there is a good electrical path between the 2 points. My right hand is probing the front face board, and my left hand is probing what I just soldered back together. With everything checking out, I hit the power button, and it fires right up. The disc starts to spin, and I see something on the screen, so we know that repair was successful. Before performing this last repair, I took a break and notified the customer of my mistake. He was very understanding, and he knows that this unit's over 20 years old, so everything's not going to be great inside to begin with. When you try to repair old items, these problems happen. I'll have to be cognizant in the future not to put stress on any cable. With some final tacks of hot glue, I'll put the cover back on the unit, we'll assemble this thing, and get it back to the customer. Whoops, I forgot to put the screws back in the disc clamp. I like using a magnetic tray to hold all of the hardware. As I'm putting things back together, I can see all of the hardware together, and it's easy to identify if I forgot something. With everything back together and plugged in, it's time for the moment of truth. Does it work? So the DVD player pops on. That's a good sign. Will it read the disc inside? And that's what I'm talking about. It's playing the disc just like it did when it was brand new. I'll grab the remote, make sure I can flip through the different functions. The IR sensor on the DVD unit was one of the wires that broke, so I need to make sure that that works for the customer. We'll do a little bit more stress testing behind the scenes, but it seems like this thing is back up and running, saved from the landfill. I charged the customer the face value of the parts and $60 for labor. Maybe not a great profit if this was full-time, but I'm going to take that money, buy some tools, buy some other broken equipment to fix and flip online. It just keeps my hobby going. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, hit that subscribe button.